Chapter 4 of the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Adventure 4 The Gloria Scott. Here, said my friend Sherlock Holmes, as we sat one winter's night on either side of the fire. These are the documents in this extraordinary case of the Gloria Scott. But not just of the piece covered in the picture the first shoulder and the tank who had the shooting the supply game for London is the stop from reading this enigmatical message. So the test can memorize. Exactly. Yet that remains that the leaders was a friend of Alden. The bottom of a pistol. You aroused my curiosity, said I. But why did you say just now that there were very particular reasons why I should study this case? Because in which I was engaged. I had often endeavored to ascertain a companion at first point of sometimes smoking and turning them over. In my rooms and bonuses at that. Something about him I had seen as very taste, and then my line of study was quite distinct from the other fellows, so it was no point of contact at all. And then, to get into his bed, sitting into my they went down to chapel. A form of friendship, but it was effective. I was living by the field for 10 days, but Silver used to come in to inquire after me. At first it was correct, but his visits lengthened, and the time became friends. He themselves spent very opposite in respects, but it was subject to time. Finally, he invited me down to his father's place at Belfort in Norfolk, and I accepted his hospitality for a month of the long vacation. My father was evidently in some consideration, a JP, and a proprietor. So I thought the local family just to be the house was an old-fashioned, widespread, empty brick building, from far along leading up to it. There was sitting in the front, from boarded fishing, a small door, distinct from the former occupant, and a tiny so that he would be a fastidious man and put in pleasant life there. Sailor was a widower, and I found his only son. There had been a daughter, I said, but she had died before I was able to bury her. I thought it was deadly extremely. Really tempting, but with a considerable amount of rude strength, both physically and mentally. He was but he had traveled far, and he had the world. And he had learned he was hands, the shape of disappear, a broad and deep face, and blue eyes which were keen to the verge of fierceness. Yet he had a reputation for kindness and charity in the countryside, and his need for the leniency and sentences from the bench. One evening, shortly after my arrival, we had a glass of port after dinner, when Silver began to talk about the planetary observation and instruments which I had already formed into a system, and I had appreciated the part which they were to play in with. He thought that his son was exaggerating his description of one or two trivial feats which I performed. Mr. Holmes, said he, laughing concurrently, I subject if you can deduct anything from it. personal attack within his judgment, the law faded from his lips, and he stared at me in great surprise. Well, said he, you have coming to his son. Why did you get particularly through Pinocchio, and so him after the big attack? Then dead six men, they were really family. You I answered. By the inscription, I knew that you had not had anything. But taking some time to go into the house, to make a fashionable weapon, I only did not take such precautions as to have some danger to fear. Anything else? She asked smiling. You were actually doing very damn. Who was it? It was to do with the... No, it was Eric. Then they became flattened and thickening towards the back of me. You have done a good deal of digging by your properties. No, the good fields. You have done you have done quite fair. And you are associated with someone who was and who and Mr. Turner, the pain, the strange and then took hold for the fascinating essence which did you told him that he felt about his son. His attack about his grandholder, the way out of his car, and sprinkled the water from the thin glasses over his face. He then gasped and sat up. Boys, said he, forcing a smile, I hope I haven't frightened you. There was a weak place in my heart, and it doesn't take much to knock it over. I don't know how you managed this, Mr. Holmes, but it seems to me that the detective is soft and the fancy would be true in his hands. But you are son, and you take the world and say something in the world. Recommendation, since the exaggerated estimate of my ability, which is purposes, was achievable as a lot from the first time. Professor At the moment, however, I was too concerned with the sudden illness of my host to think of anything else. I hope that I have said nothing to pain you, said I. Well, you certainly touched upon a rather tender point. Female. He spoke in a half-jesting fashion, but a look of terror still at the back of his eyes. It is simplicity itself, said I. When you bring me on to the distance of the boat, I saw that the eyes had been tattooed on the band of the wall. The letters were still visible, but it was perfectly clear from their blurred appearance and from the staining of the skin around them that this had been made to look at them. I understand that the initials had once been very familiar to you, and that you afterwards wished to forget them. Of course you have, replied with a sigh of relief. It is just as you say. But we won't talk of it. Of all ghosts, the ghost of all years are the worst. Come into the room and have a quiet cigar. From that day, I knew his cordiality, there was a touch of suspicion in Mr. Turner's manner. Such a time, said he. He began to chill and chill, but it was so still and that it peeped out at every action. At last, I became so convinced that I was covering an eagerness that I drew no visit to close. Day, however, before I left, an incident occurred which proved in the sequel to be of importance. We were sitting out upon the lawn in dining chairs, the three of us, basking in the sun and view across the bridge, when to say it, there was a man at the door who wanted to see Mr. Turner. What is his name? Asked my host. He would not tell me. What did you want then? He said to me, and he conversation. An instant afterwards, there appeared a little wizened fellow with the tender air and the singular style of walking. He wore an open jacket with a spot of color on the sleeve, a round black check shirt, dirty trousers and handboots badly worn. His face was thin and brown and puffy, with a perpetual smile upon it, which showed his crippled hands were half-closed in a way that is distinctive of sailors. As he came slouching across the lawn, I heard Mr. Trevor make a sort of hesitating noise in his throat, and jumping out of his chair, he ran into the house. He was back in a moment, and I smelled the strong whiff of brandy as he passed me. "Well, my man," said he, "what can I do for you?" The sailor stood looking at him with puckered eyes, and with the same wicked smile upon his face. "You asked, why, do you know Sailor Hudson?" said Mr. Trevor in a tone of surprise. "Hudson, sir," said the seaman. "Why, it's been a year since I saw you last. Here you are in the house, and you still picking yourself out of the harness craft." "But you will find that I am not forgotten old times," cried Mr. Trevor, and he said something in his voice. "Go into the kitchen," he continued out loud, "and you I will bet that I shall find the situation." "Thank you, sir," said the seaman, touching his forelock. "I'm just off at sea here, and it ain't not tramp. Short-handed at that, and I won't rest. I thought I'd get either with Mr. Bennet or with you." "Ah," cried Trevor, "you know what Mr. Bennet is." "Bless you, sir, I know all my old friends are," said the fellow with a sinister smile, and he stalked off after the maid to the kitchen. Mr. Trevor mumbled something to us about having to separate with the man when he was going back to the bed, and then turned indoors. And when we entered the house, we found him stretched upon the dining sofa. The whole thing left the only impression upon my mind, and I was not sorry to leave myself behind me, for I felt that my presence must be a source of embarrassment to my friend. All this occurred during the first month of the undertaking. I went up to my London rooms, where I spent 7 weeks working out the experiments of the London Harbour, where I was far advanced on the vacation of clothes. I sent a telegram to my friend and told him and said with my advice and assistance. Of course, I dropped everything and set out for the north once more. He met me with the Bradford at the station, and I saw at a glance that the last 2 months had been very trying for him. He had gone stone and careworn, and had lost a large sum of money for which he had done remarkable. "The governor is dying," were the first words he said. "Impossible!" I cried. "What is the matter?" "Apoplexy, nervous shock. He's been in a bed all day. I doubt if we shall find him alive." I was, as you may think, Watson, horrified at this unexpected news. "What caused it?" I asked. "Ah, that's the point. From there we can tell what we do. You have been evening perfectly. Do you know who it was that we went into the house that day?" "I have no idea." "It was the devil, Holmes," he cried. I stared at him in astonishment. "Yes, it was the devil himself. He has not had a peaceful hour since, not one. The governor has never held up his head from that evening, and every life has been crushed out of him and heartbroken, all through the protected Hudson." "What power had he then?" "Ah, that is what I would give so much to know. The kindly, charitable, good old governor. How could he have fallen into the clutches of such a ruffian? But I am so glad that you have come, Holmes. I trust very much to your judgment and discretion, and I know that you will advise me for the best." We were dashing along the smooth white country road, with the last streaks of the bulbs in front of us glittering in the red light of the setting sun. Upon our left, I could only see the first signals of the flagstaff which the stars going. "Let's go into the front garden," said my companion, and then, as that did not satisfy him, he promoted to be butler. The house seemed to be at his mercy, and he wandered about and did what he chose in it. The maids complained of his drunken habits and his vile language. The dad raised the wages all round to recompense them for their annoyance. The fellow would take the boat and my father's best guns and treat himself to little shooting trips, and all this with such a sneering face that I would have knocked him down 20 times if he'd been a man of my own. I've had to keep a tight hold upon myself all this time, and now I'm asking myself whether, if I let myself go a little more, I might. Well, matters went from bad to worse with us, and this animal, Hudson, became more and more intrusive, until I making some path I I don't know what passed between the poor dad and him after that, but the dad came to me next day and asked me whether I would mind apologizing to him. I was as you can imagine, and asked my father how he could allow such a wretch to take such liberties with himself. All I do is say, it is all the I'll see you come with me. That evening, he came to me to be embarrassed. The whole continuous He walked into the dining room as we sat after dinner, and announced his intention in the thick voice of a half-drunken man. I've had enough of you folks, said he. I'll run down to Mr. Beddoes in Hampshire. He'll be as glad to see you as you were, I dare say. They're not going away in unkind state, how can I hope? Said my father with a tear which made my blood boil. I've not had an apology, said he sulkily, glancing in my direction. Victor, you have used this worthy fellow rather roughly, said the dad, turning to me. Sir, I think that we have both shown extraordinary patience towards him, I answered. He snarls. Very good, we'll see about that. He searched down the room, and half an hour afterwards left the house, leaving my father in a state of pitiable nervousness. Night after night I heard him pacing the room, and it was just as he was recovering his confidence that the door was tall. And how? I asked eagerly. In a most extraordinary fashion. A letter arrived from my father yesterday evening, bearing the Fordbridge postmark. My father read it, clapped both his hands to his head, and began running around the room in little circles, like a man who had been dreaming of his senses. When I at last threw him down onto the sofa, his mouth and eyes were all puckered on one side, and he thought he was drunk. Dr. Thornton came over at once. We put him to bed, but the plan seemed to spread. He has shown no sign of returning consciousness, and I think that we shall finally find him alive. You hope, then, sir, I cried. What man could have done this to cause so dreadful a result? Nothing. That was the inexplicable part of it. The message was absurd and trivial. Oh, my God. It is as if as he spoke, we came round the corner of the area, and saw in the fire that every door in the house had been blown down, and he dashed up to the door, my friend's face convulsed with grief, and entered in the dark and outside. When did it happen, doctor? Asked Trevor. Almost immediately after that. Did he recover consciousness? For I didn't think before the end. Any message for me? The papers were in the back room of the Japanese cabinet. My friend ascended with the doctor to the chamber of death, where I remained in a study, turning the whole over and over in my head. What was the past of this clever, pugilistic builder, and placed himself in power of this acid-faced fiend? Why, too, could he turn to the happy-faced and overtime man, and die of fright when he was from Thailand? Then, the Thailand was in Hampshire, and Mr. Benning, was to Baltimore, and mentioned as living in Hampshire. The latter of them might either come from something, the seaman saying that he had betrayed the guilty secret which appeared to exist, so far it seemed clear enough that Manhawk could as well be treated under test as described by his friend. He must have misread it. If so, it must have been one of those ingenious secret codes which were working to see this letter. If it were hidden in it, I was confident that I could take it forth. So, I said, and it was with big papers which lay upon my knee. He sat down opposite to me, moving to the edge of the table, and here was scribbled, as you see, upon a single sheet of grey paper. The surprise done for London is done steadily up, and those has been paid to receive orders for fur paper, and for publication in the papers themselves. I didn't say my face looked as the world as did just now when first I read the pieces. Then I read very carefully. It was really as I thought, and some secret meaning was going down in this storytelling words. Could it be that there was a prearranged significance to such phrases as fly paper and paraphrasing? Such an but for the dictionary to be that this was the case, and the presence of the word person seemed to show that the subject of the message was a very death, and that was for better than the feeling. I found backwards, but the combination him were very alternate words, but neither me nor fur nor the plan down plans to fill. Into shaking hands. It must be, I suppose, the it means nothing to the message, but it would be to us if we to fulfill the appearance to fill space. To the fifth word which came to mind, which referred to Spider-Man, be told for it, said he. Poor fellow used to have the patience for him to see that his behavior away from him that they would come. It is for us to find out what this was which the same person seems to have found over the heads of these two respected men. See that it is really still insane, said my friend, but this is no secret. Which was the Japanese comment. These are the very papers, Watson, which he handed to me, and I will read them to you as I read them study that night to him. They are identified, as you see, some particulars of the voyage of the boat Gloria Scott, from the 4th on October 1855 to the 15th, 20 minutes, 25 degrees, and the 6th. My dear son, now that perfect disgrace begins to dictate I can with absolute honesty that it is not the terror of the war. It is not my position in the county, nor is it my but it is the thought that this should come to best for me. You who have me, who I hope, have reason to be other than respectful. But if the blue flag which is forever hanging over me, and I should wish you to read this, that may mistake me how far I have been to blame. On the other hand, if I should be which may kind God Almighty then if by any chance this paper should be still destroyed and should fall into your hands, I come to you by the and by the return by the cross, the fire and fire, and to if I go on to read this line, I know that I shall already have been exposed and very for him. Do wait written this week, with my chance to furthering death. In this case, the time for suppression is past, and every word which I tell you is the naked truth, and this I swear as I hope for mercy. My word is not clever. I was disadvantage in my younger days, and you can understand the fact that it was to come. It was the and I was convicted of breaking country laws, and sentenced to transportation. Do you think that was halfway fairly? It was a dead manner, so-called, which I had to pay, and I used money which was not paid in the second place, and I could place it before there could be any possibility of its being lost. suitor. The man was there making the plan the king defend, and the plea for the king exposed. The case might have been dealt leniently with, but the law was vastly administered 30 years ago than now. And on the 23rd birthday, I found myself king as a felon with 37 other convicts in the depths of the boat Gloria Scott down South. It was 1955 when the Canadian War cut, and the convict ships had been used as transports in the Black Sea. The government was compelled, therefore, to use smaller, suitable vessels for sailing over prisoners. The Gloria Scott had been in the Chinese tea trade, but since the assassins had been trapped, and clippers had cut out. She was plunder and decided to stay she killed 26 of the crew, 18 sergeants, a captain, 2 mates, a doctor, a chaplain, and 4 the partitions between the cells of the convicts, instead of being of thick anchors as usual in convict ships, were put down and fell. So now the command upon the outside was one that had particularly laid down the prey. He was the clear face, and thin nose, and not proper jaws. He kept his head very gently in the air, had a swaggering style of walking, and was, above all, remarkable for his extraordinary height. I don't think the head would have come up close shoulder, and I saw that he could not have less than 6.5 feet. It was terrible to see his sad and faces to see on which was full of energy and resolution. The thing was to me like a fire exposed to him. I was glad then to find that he was my neighbor, and glad I still when in the dead of the night I had a whisper close to my ear, and found the company. "Oh, Penny," said he, "what's your name and what are you here for?" I answered him, and asked in turn who I was talking with. "I'm just to the rest," said he, "and by God, you are going to bless my name before you've done with me." I remember in this case, for it was something from the country, something before my own arrest. He was a good fellow and great ability, but he probably was a habit, by his system of fraud and patience so away from the reading of the weapons. Said he proudly. Very well, indeed. Then maybe you remember something queer about it. What was that, then? I'd had nearly a $250,000, hadn't I? So it was said. But none was recovered, eh? No. Well, where do you suppose the balance is? He asked. I have no idea, said I. Right between my finger and thumb, he cried. By God, I've got my pants down in his head, and if he's letting my son and know how to handle it and spit it, he can do anything. Now, you don't think it like whether a man who could do anything is going to put his blitzers out sitting and speaking and being constantly testing. No, sir, but the man who's after himself can look after himself. You know, later that, you hold on to him and you take the book and he'll hold it for you. That was his style of talk, and at first I thought it meant nothing. But after a while, when he had tested me and sworn me in with all possible solemnity, he made me understand that there really was a plot to gain command of the vessel. A dozen of the prisoners had hatched it before they came aboard. Pendergast was the leader, and his name was Tom. I'm apparently saying a really big man with tins of butt barrel. He's got the dignity he has, and what do you think he is at this moment? Why, he's the chaplain of the chaplain. He came aboard with a black coat and his paper hat, and then off in his box to buy the thing right up from his keel for comfort. The thing is better than all. He could buy him a so much a gross with a cash discount, and he did it before he was so down. He's got 2 mornings a year, the second mate, and he didn't take it himself if he thought him worth it. What to do then? I asked. What do you think? Said he. We'll make the coats of some of these soldiers when Taylor did. But they aren't, said I. And so shall we do, my boy. There's a brace of pistols for every son of us, and if we can't carry the ship with the crew on back, it's time we sent to the school. You speak to me upon the left tonight, and feel free to be trusted. I did so, and found that the leader to be a young fellow in much the same position as himself. His crime had been forgery. His name was Evans, but he afterwards changed it, like myself, and he's now a rich and prosperous man in the south of England. He was very apt to join the conspiracy, and he the famous and the foot would press the day. So, two prisoners in the secret. One was a weak man, and the other trust him, and was suffering from blindness, and could not be very active. Nothing could prevent us from taking possession of the ship. The crew were not beings, specially put and down. The same chaplain came in for ourselves to exhort us, carrying a black bag, supposed to be full of tracts, and so often did it come that by the third day we had each stowed away at the foot of our beds a fire, a brace of pistols, a pound of plate, and 20 slugs. Some of the boys were piece of coal dust, and the second night was as that came down. The captain would who you, we the prisoner who was but it and so he gave a cry of surprise and turned so pale that the man knew what was up in an instant. The two sentries were shot down, and so was the corporal who came running to see what was the matter. Then we went down into the captain's cabin, and as we pushed open the door, there was an explosion from within, and then his brains slid over the chair of the Atlantic, which was pinned upon the table, while the captain had his smoking pistol in his hand. He beat the beat down from the was to be settled. He we were just with that we were through and through. With him, before it was done. Latitude 15 degrees and longitude 25 degrees. And then let us go. And now, I come to the most surprising part of my story, my dear son. The fool back then, then, but now I had brought it square again. And there was a little from the north and east, about the most indicated The transport ship Gloria Scott was shut down by the sea and how it was. That narrative which I read that night. I think that it is probably your servant. End of Adventure 4, The Gloria Scott.